We're back, baby.
Welcome,
It's
everybody.
season 2 for us here on F1 America.
Have we not recorded anything?
What?
Have we not recorded anything this year?
No.
We haven't? Oh, well.
It's
been rough, all
been
right?
a slow off season.
Been tired, working. I got food poisoning. It was bad. It was terrible.
Old age. We're getting old.
Yeah, that too.
That's what happens.
I have a day job. You aren't paying my bills yet. So
Yeah.
what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? You got to find time.
Sacrifice. Well, guys, welcome back to F1 America. A lot has happened here in the off season, so a lot to talk about today.
The F1 world is on fire.
That's
all
I know.
F1
world is on fire. We're going to break it down into a few different segments. Everything's now going to be on Spotify as well.
We got that figured out?
Yep. So if you want to just listen to the audio, you're driving to work, take us on your commute. It's going to be fantastic.
Normally what I do for anything, I don't watch YouTube. It's so weird that so many kids now that watches YouTube for hours on end.
Yeah, I hated just doing that, and now I do that all the time.
Yeah, so I mean, I drive a lot though, so it's like I listen.
Yeah, when I drive, like obviously,
like that. But the downfall to pods or Spotify in general, you get paid like a quarter of a cent for every view.
Yeah, compared to YouTube.
Oh yeah, compared to just anything. Like it's not like, hey, we're selling CDs.
Oh hey, guest star.
Put you in the mix.
No, you gotta go lay down, bud. You know the drill.
Anyways, while we get our distraction out here, lots to talk about. Some crazy moves happening. Obviously not this year, but definitely some hot takes in regards to people are surprised, which I'm not really surprised by these moves. Lewis Hamilton in 2025. Some Red Bull allegations going around, which should be pretty fun to talk about. And we're going to talk about some liveries too. What was the other thing? Was that it?
Andretti's.
Oh, God. I'm going to light the world on
or
fire.
lack of Andretti's right now in Formula One.
Not happy about that.
Yeah. Got some hot takes for you.
I think should we just start there since I'm amped up? I'm pretty pissed. I'm trying to watch my language here, but because this is the family show, I'm pretty upset, to be 100% honest, about the Andretti situation and their logic. All their logic is just utter bullshit. So
that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's where you're getting they're not going to be competitive. Well, Haas isn't competitive, and Alfa Romeo half the time isn't competitive, and AlphaTauri isn't really competitive either. But also, you let them be there.
Not that Gene Haas isn't a big racing family,
right?
But Andretti has roots in Formula One. Huge racing family, huge money backed with Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
So just a huge car manufacturer coming in to back them, not just a private entity like Haas.
Right.
So I think that's bullshit, like you said.
I think the other thing that's frustrating about it too is you have Gene Haas or you have these people, like, why let them get as far along as they did?
Yeah.
Like you should have just said, if you're gonna squash it anyways, you should have said out the gate, like, hey, like, it's very unlikely, but you can. They went through the parameters and put up the money.
They checked all the boxes.
They qualified liquidity and stuff like that. And so it's kind of like almost dating a girl, right? Like if you're dating that girl and she's just doing it to get back at her ex, like, don't waste my time.
Yeah.
Because then one of us is gonna get hurt and I'm pissed. That's how I feel right now. I feel like the girl just or the dude just got dumped and the girl is F1 and she's being a hoe. F1 is being a hoe.
True. Facts.
So
you heard it here.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that pisses me off too, it's like, you're not going to be competitive, so we covered that, right? You can't get a car together. I mean, they have a full year, and they've probably already been developing some stuff.
Mm.
So they're very competitive in IndyCar.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some crossover. I know the cars are way more advanced than IndyCar, but you have some to go off of, right? And you have all the cars passed, and you have all the research that is public knowledge, right? I've talked to some companies as well that say they don't want their product involved in Formula One just because you have to fork over your formulas and stuff. So say it's Mobil 1 is an oil, right? Like Mobil 1 has to give up their formulas so anybody can go see what's in their formula, or whoever, fill in the blank, like whatever company that is, whether it's technology, whether it's lubricants, whether it's a cushion for your seat, you know what I mean? So that's also kind of like annoying, but for the sake of competitiveness, they could go find out all this information
Yeah.
and be competitive. What was the other reason? They said something else.
So there's a few other. One being that the first year that they're in, they're going to be using a different engine manufacturer. And then when the new regulation comes in 2026, then they're going to manufacture their own with Cadillac Works. And basically what F1 is saying is, hey, because you're taking somebody else's engine for the first season, you could be using like gathering all their proprietary data to then use on your own engine build.
Which that's not. Who cares?
Who
It's
gives
none
a
of your,
shit?
yeah, it's
They're
none
gonna
of your, if
fucking do
they're
it
smart enough to
anyway.
do it, then who gives a fuck?
So it's just
Well, there goes
again
the language, but
a bullshit reason.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And then the other one, which I thought was completely absurd, is so F1's media team, right? Like, so they have a media company. And basically that media company was saying, well, F1 is going to give a lot more benefit and value to the Andretti name. The Andretti name is going to give back to F1, which one shows you that all they care about is bottom dollar.
Yeah.
Like they don't give a shit about any of the actual racing and all this stuff. They just want to make money. And two, it's just bullshit. Mario is a former F1 champion. Like they have roots in Formula One, and they're a huge racing family. Like it's absurd to me.
Yeah. But what about, okay, so if we're going to go off that logic,
yeah,
Alfa Romeo ain't contributing shit to F1. Haas is not, sorry, no offense, Haas, Gene,
Yeah.
but whatever. You're not contributing shit to F1.
1,000%.
It'd be one
Yeah.
thing, Gene Haas is contributing to NASCAR. I could see that because he obviously is very competitive in NASCAR.
Yeah.
But you rolling around in 19th and 20th is not contributing shit to F1.
Yeah.
So it's only going to benefit you to have another team to make the back end racing more competitive.
Agreed.
100%. Like if guys are battling out for 19th, sick. You don't have Latifi just driving around in circles back there.
Yeah, because
causing yellow flags.
All the regulations are to bring the cars closer together.
Correct.
And having another maybe back to midfield team, we don't know.
I mean, they can come out swinging and be a 8th place team.
They also have a lot of money in backing. They could be up there in the midfield, high midfield. Maybe those midfield teams are scared and don't want to have another team in there battling for their money, right? Also, you have the whole American market right now.
Yeah.
That's really this like ripe cherry for the picking. And they have 3 races in the US. No other country has 3 races.
Yeah.
We have Drive to Survive, which has blown up F1 across the world, but specifically in the US.
For sure.
And so to deny like blossoming team, a US team, I think it's really detrimental.
I don't think the Andretti's either are going to do it to just do it. Like they're going to want to be competitive.
Yeah.
Any team wants to be competitive.
I mean, hence Gene Haas wants to be
Gunther,
competitive, right?
Actually, that's some more news. Like
Yeah,
why Gunther
right.
got shit canned, right? So it's like Gene Haas wants to be more competitive. Andretti's want to be competitive.
Yeah.
So I would say the Andretti's, whenever they do get in, I give them, obviously the first year might be a trial year, but I just say I give them 3 years and they will be competitive. That's just my prediction.
The other thing is, just like Audi coming in, okay, well, they're buying an already team.
That's what my next one was going to be about.
Yeah, it's like, we know Gene Haas has been kind of on the fritz of all this, and maybe it's just dramatized for Drive to Survive. We don't know.
Right.
But what if Andretti's take over the Haas team and then it's Cadillac Andretti? I don't know. But
no, that's what I was like. Well, you're gonna let another company come in, but yeah, they're obviously buying, just like Honda has slapped on the Red Bull car, or fill in whatever team. I still think it's bullshit, but
okay.
Anyways, we're back. Yeah, I guess if you just have a shitload of money and you want to buy into a team, that's the way to get into F1. And that might lead into our next segment.
Well, so there's one more stipulation that I saw of why they're not considered, basically, is that the inconvenience it's going to be for the other teams to have to consolidate some of their space at the racetracks to accommodate another team coming in and setting up their paddock and all their stuff.
Inconvenience.
Yeah.
You build these courses around these people. Like, What a
So
convenience!
it's
Where
like,
you might have to shrink a garage or two by
right,
like a
yeah,
foot.
yeah,
On all
basically,
consolidate a
yeah.
foot each to the left, and you'll make this tiny garage for the Andretti's.
It's like, oh, okay, you can't bring like your 5-story,
or just bring like another domino and slide it in.
Well,
Like
and
because they're all just pieced together.
well, and so remember with the cost cap, remember Haas brought in like just instead of their big race wall,
Yeah,
they had like a tiny
it
little
was like a
two thing, right?
three-man thing.
Yeah, and that's gonna save them like I don't know, $1 million over the course of traveling for the
Yeah.
year. So, anyways, that's just bullshit.
Yeah, and the other thing I thought was pissed that they're like, oh, maybe in 2028. Okay, wait. Back this shit up. Like, why do we have to wait till 2028?
Yeah.
Why don't you let them come in at 26?
Well, then
when
yeah,
the new
26.
car,
Then they
whatever, not 20, not 25, that's fine. Why are you
Yeah.
gonna push them out 4 years? No. Kick rocks. Like, put them in 26 when the new car gets developed and
Yeah.
everybody's on even playing field.
right.
And you can't say, oh, you're not going to be competitive or this.
Well,
or that.
because that was it, right? Well, oh, you're going to come in for just one season and then have to completely redesign. Okay, well then tell us
Give them
26 and we'll just
2
start
years
designing
and
that
yeah,
car now.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, it's
all right, well, that's our
But-
take. It's bullshit.
Not because we're biased in Americans or anything, but I think, and it doesn't matter. It could be an Australian team, it could be a
Yeah.
China team, it could be a Euro team, whatever. I think any team adding it to there, because there's some courses
Do you
that
think
the
that
courses are
F1 is
huge.
just a little bit more snooty and they don't want
yeah,
an
it's
American
a
team?
it's
It's
a
totally
$1 million
biased, right?
club. We've talked about this
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
You know, it's if you're part of the club, cool. If you're not part of the club, then kick rocks and keep
Yeah.
looking in, keep window shopping.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I think there might be some of the teams might be scared and think like, fuck, there's a new team coming in. Like, what could happen? Like, how is this going to shake it
Yeah.
up? I mean, I think the big dogs probably aren't scared. Like, Red Bull's just like, whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think the top 4,
Mm-hmm.
Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, and McLaren, I think they don't give a shit.
Yeah, they're just like,
They're like, great, more
I did see
people's
some
money. Like,
stupid
right?
ass comment from, I don't remember what it said.
Zach
but
Brown?
Zach Brown.
How'd I know you're gonna say Zach Brown?
Zach can suck a
He
bag
always
of
says shit.
hot dogs for all I care. He's a, yeah. I'll stop there. Yeah. Be like an episode of South Park real quick. But that actually Gunther gets shit canned, right? So that's kind of some really brief news, and that it was hilarious because Gunther gets canned, and it was like news for a day, and then the next day comes along and Lewis steals the show, and Gunther's like, "Well, at least I'm not in the news anymore."
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Lewis going to Ferrari, I guess.
Lewis?
You're more hurt than I am. I think it's a great move. I can say,
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Well, it's interesting because when it was happening the last couple of days, I was thinking back to something you said actually, and how this is what Lewis does, and he did the same thing when he jumped into McLaren, and I was thinking about that, and then Lewis actually commented that same kind of thing where he said, "Look, when I left McLaren to go to Mercedes, a lot of people didn't think that that was a great move, and people questioned, but it felt like the right move at the time." And he said, that's the exact same feeling I'm getting right now with this move. And so, okay, interesting. And then you're seeing a lot of the other kind of like people reporting and some of the backstory of maybe some of the other things that are going on as far as like Lewis not getting to be a full ambassador for Mercedes.
Well, okay, think about this. You just how long is it? 12 years? No.
So this is going to be his 12th season, I believe.
Okay, and then how long was it? 6 years with Mercedes, something like that? A little longer, probably.
Wait.
How long has he been with Mercedes?
12? Yeah, so this will be his 12th
season with Mercedes. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
So 12 years.
7 or 6 personal championship titles, drivers titles.
Yeah.
8 consecutive constructor titles.
Right.
Like,
so how do you get in a pissing match with I'm sure Lewis has an agent. I'm sure it's not Lewis negotiating him on his own. But so how do you get in a pissing match over a guy that's brought you that much clout, that much
prestige?
Yeah, dynasty basically.
Yeah.
Like you guys built the dynasty and were dominant for a insane amount of time.
Yeah.
That's like the disrespect.
It wasn't just Lewis, right? Like the car was insane. He had good teammates. They worked together, but Lewis, bro, like brought it,
So actually, like we could get down a rabbit hole. I heard something about Valtteri too this week.
Oh.
So yeah, him and Valtteri were like the super duo, dominated everybody, right? And that was definitely like in motocross perspective, that was like the Ricky Carmichael, era of just that team was just so dominant, or like you obviously see like a bunch of different teams come up and like there's a team that is just so demandingly like just beats everybody straight
Yeah.
up. So that was obviously Mercedes for that time. So you guys are so dominant, took such good care of him at the time, and then now he asked for, I don't know what his contract was before, but he asked for some money. He asked for an ambassadorship. He wasn't asking for much.
Right.
And then so on top of this, so as soon as he announces that he goes to Ferrari, Ferrari stock goes up.
10%.
Yeah, so we definitely
Which is
robbed
about
that from
10
other buddies.
$10 billion or something
Yeah, we
like
robbed
that.
that from the red flag pod. But like
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, holy shit, like they got like they called it, like they got their money back
Yeah.
overnight. Like they didn't have to worry
Like
about
way over. And he's getting a $100 million contract to drive
it.
per year.
Yeah, or for 1 year? No, 3 years.
For 100 a year though, right?
Yeah,
100 yeah, 100 a year.
Yeah, so I think it's 300 million total plus the ambassadorship, which I don't know the details behind the ambassadorship, but
I think Red Flags said that they're getting, what is it? He's getting 10 million or something for Mission 44, which is his alternative fuel race team, off-road race team.
Got it. But yeah, it's just like Mercedes comes in and offers them 1 million, offers them a 1-year contract and no ambassadorship.
Yeah.
Like after you do as much as you do for them, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna go shop you guys out. And like
yeah.
it's like anybody, like, oh, you've been overcharging me, undercharging me, like whatever. Okay, like I'm gonna go shop you out. And then you're pissed that they jumped ship. And Toto, like, I don't feel bad for Toto. Like Toto, you should have showed your guy you wanted him.
Yeah.
Like instead of babying him the last 3 years with a shitbox car.
Yeah, and I think obviously Lewis is reaching that point where like maybe he has some insider knowledge as to maybe this new Mercedes is gonna be as competitive as maybe he would hope. I think it's more about all the other stuff. And I think if you look at how close Ferrari was to Mercedes this past year, I mean, granted, Carlos and Charles both drove fairly well,
Right.
but I think Lewis would have, if Lewis was in Ferrari, they probably would have got second.
For sure. I think that, well, some of it you don't know if it was well, the strategy was better this year, right?
Way
was
better.
not as bad.
I think Fred Vasseur is doing a much better job as far as like the team feels like it's a little bit more cohesive.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing I was gonna say is I remember there was a couple races like some things were out of Carlos's control or some things were out of Charles' control, right?
I think a little bit of what am I thinking? The engine, like reliability.
Yeah, there were some reliability issues.
Not as bad as it had been in the past.
They did shaft Carlos that one time and left him out to dry on those tires.
That was the worst.
That was a bad one, and that's what.
Oh, we're hoping for a safety car.
Yeah, that's what fucked them in their
yeah.
T3,
that was really bad.
So,
but all things considered, this season was much better. They're showing progress.
Yeah, 9-day difference. So I think. Yeah, well, it's kind of crazy if Lewis has insider knowledge on the Mercedes that's getting developed, right? This car should be relatively the same, but it's 26's car that he needs to be worried about. So then maybe he saw when they made the switch from his dominant car to this car and how much they struggled. Yeah. Ferrari was way closer to Red Bull out the gate. And maybe that's what he's banking on.
Maybe he thinks,
Ferrari has better development engineering out the gate for a new gen car. And I'm going to roll my dice on that.
Yeah, I mean, we also have to remember that Mercedes, their lead engineer, left to go do other stuff at that change.
Yeah,
and so, he's back now.
Obviously, too late.
Full time. Yeah, well, I
mean,
I think he helped guide last season's car. They finally went the full direction, right? And so, if he stays on board for 26, it's a high likelihood that they could.
Oh, actually. So this kind of brings me into, since we're talking about Mercedes so much, that Lewis said, don't hire George. I read that somewhere. So Lewis said, don't hire George.
Well, I mean,
there's probably an ego check too. And he was like, no, I don't want him. Cause he knows, he sees the writing on the wall. Like, okay, you bring George in. George is not he knows George is not going to be a team player as much as
Valtteri. Valtteri kind of knew his spot.
Yeah. And which is fine. And Valtteri would take his lens when he could. And if he was supposed to get in line, he got in line. He was a good soldier.
Well, and I think when Valtteri kind of said "fuck you" to the team, it wasn't to Lewis.
Right.
Like I think they had a good relationship. It was kind of like to the rest of the team of like, all right, I'm not going to sit back anymore. But I think their relationship's different than, let's say, Max and Checo, where Checo's getting completely
No, for sure.
smashed
I
by
think
Max more than the team.
uh yeah, I mean, we don't know what actually goes on behind closed doors. Like,
Yeah.
just say like they're good buddies and whatever. I think by the way you see them act, I think Daniel and Max are better buddies than Max and Checo.
For sure.
So you can
But
see how the interactions are.
because Daniel doesn't have a direct competitor with him right now. Remember what they had when Max first came in,
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
you know? So
But maybe Max is just kind of stroking whoever's ego he's got to get back in the Red Bull seat. I don't know.
Daniel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Daniel. Did I say Max?
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. But I also read that Valtteri, there's no bad blood with the team, so they're talking about potentially bringing Valtteri back to fill the slot. Like there's a rumor going around about that, and I'm like, so then what are you going to be the next? You're going to just be you 2.0 and like settle in behind George?
Lewis?
Yeah,
like look, Lewis is not worried about George as far as a direct competitor.
no, for sure.
Like George is not anywhere near Lewis's caliber, but he is growing, right? Like I think,
and we know how I feel about George. Everybody knows how I feel about George. He's the last guy I want to see on the grid. He could have a ride. They could drop him tomorrow, and I would applaud Mercedes.
He's not that bad. He's better than Mazepin. He's better than
Mazepin was a
Latifi.
little bit more entertainment.
Just because he was a bad boy off the track and just did stupid shit.
No, dude, George is just a baby. Like everything he does, he's just a bitch.
Kind of
and
a
it's just
whiner.
like, dude, like shut
Yeah,
up.
like tough it up, bro.
Drive. You have a rough life. You fly PJs.
Yeah.
You have a model girlfriend. Like, go kick rocks. Stop being such a vagina. Jesus.
Yeah, he is kind of a prima donna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and everybody makes fun of him for it, and he just embraces it, and that's fine. Like
maybe that's just who he is.
Maybe that's what he needs to be,
bro.
Like,
be you.
I don't think I will put it out there now. George will not win the title.
Yeah, I mean, unless Mercedes just completely builds a rocket ship, where like no other teams can touch him, and he just happens to be. But
now seeing who else is out there and like how they're performing, I think McLaren will stay in front of him.
Oscar Piastri,
yeah,
dude, if he can like get a good car, I think he's crushing. I think
Oscar and Lando both high caliber drivers.
Aside from Lewis's like debut season, I think Oscar comes real close as far as like, he didn't get second in the championship. He didn't like win,
right?
But he won the sprint.
Once they
did really damn good. Like I think he drove the wheels off that McLaren pretty much all season.
And once they fixed
it, yeah.
But
second half,
him and Lando both, like you saw their performance go from like what the fuck to holy shit. And so
and then we saw Aston Martin do the complete opposite.
Yeah, which is super fun.
So potential replacements at Mercedes as well, that I've heard. I know they're thinking about potentially calling up a F2 driver.
I didn't know.
Couldn't tell you his name because I've never heard.
He's irrelevant. You're an F2 peasant.
Like we might call you up. But Fernando Alonso.
Did you did I hear that? I was hearing something about Red Bull. Fernando the Red Bull or something like that.
It's like speculation that Fernando could go Indy team.
Yeah.
Like he must eat baby fetuses because he's just gonna be racing.
Dude, he's reincarnated. He had that accident in Barcelona like 20 years ago, and then he came back and like hasn't aged. I think that's kind of believable.
Yeah.
Let me put on my tinfoil hat.
It's been on.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that one, it's been on since the get-go. With some of the shit I see. And then I heard a rumor Albon to potentially Red Bull in 25 to replace Checo.
I heard that they gave him a contract negotiator, like an offer.
Yeah. And Williams not squashed it. They just said no, he's with us till 25, which is that's fine.
Do you think that Albon wants to go back and be second to Max?
I think he probably wants to be competitive. Any guy racing wants.
Sure.
If he went and did what he did, gets in the shit car, makes you perform. I saw a stat that he got it was like 95% of the points or 90% of the points for the team.
Oh, yeah, I believe it.
So if he goes and does that, he's like, yeah, I got to see all those points and I put them back on the radar. Like, why? He's like, why don't I deserve to be in a fast car and be like a competitive guy? Because I'm sure every guy there wants a title.
Yeah.
Realistically, does everybody? Yeah, if you're not racing and you want a title, but do you think everybody there thinks they're going to get a title? I guarantee you, there's
Yeah.
7 guys that think like they're not going to get a title. But yeah, would they all want one? Sure. The stars would have to align for
Yeah.
all of them at this
Well,
point.
and
But
especially now we see it's like I've been looking a lot more about you know, Lewis's move and comparing him to Michael and all these different things and even like the old Mercedes boss who's now at Williams, not boss, he was their
engineer, right?
engineer and then now he's the boss at Williams.
Yeah, yeah.
Listening to him talk about kind of how things changed for Lewis and it wasn't about just winning every race, it was about being consecutive over the course of the season and that's what wins the championship.
For sure.
You know, it's like, yeah, you want to win every race. You want to have a dominant season like Max, but it's really, really rare
Yeah.
that happen. Like what we just saw is really an anomaly. It'd be a miracle if that happens again this coming season. It's possible with how well they performed.
With how well they performed and how, with this generation of car, it's like you're seeing the Mercedes 2.0 with how dominant it is. So, like this last generation of car, I think Red Bull will definitely take the cake on. They're the favorites to win. They should win on paper all day long.
Yeah.
Unless Ferrari figures something out. I think Ferrari's going to be the competitive one. And McLaren might dabble in and dip their toe in the water here and there and be like, hey, we're here. I don't think they're going to go win a title.
Yeah.
But I think it's all up for grabs though in 26 when everybody
exactly. I think that's when it's going to be. I think Red Bull's should be dominant again this season, and then 26 is going to be up for grabs.
Well, actually, technically, so this season and next season, unless people people make big bounds this year and then make it again.
True.
On paper, though, Red Bull should go win again. Maybe they won't be as dominant, but they should definitely be like, cool, Max is TQ again. Max wins again.
Max works his races.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it'd be kind of cool to see Max go like an undefeated season, like
nobody's ever done it.
Complete dominant.
Yeah,
that would be pretty gangster. I'm not gonna lie, like I would totally like to be able to be a guy that in like
just watch that history,
witness that, and be like, that's like the only guy to ever do that. Like, I got chills like thinking about it right now. Because like
too bad
there's only a couple people in any motorsport that have been able to do something like
that. Yeah.
And when they do that, it's so gnarly. Like you don't.
It is because it's so hard to be that consistent every single weekend through the different elements, through all the drama going on, all the stress, all the back stuff, and through like just the car aging over the course of the season and parts failing and
things out of your control, right? The reliability, the weather, the
strategy
runs across strategy.
Everybody get it right now we have 24 races also this season. 2 more. Last season was huge and now we have 2 more races.
I think now that I'm older too and I can appreciate it, like if somebody does something like that, it's like holy shit, that's like history. Well, versus when I was a kid watching say motocross and like I watched some guy be so fast like Ricky or James and all these guys and I was like I didn't realize what was happening.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm watching dirt bikes.
Right.
And then now I watch Jet Lawrence and I'm like, holy shit, Jet is like the new
kind of like that
the new Chad Reed, the new generation of like this guy is gonna go down in history. Like, and so it's crazy to watch that and like to kind of catch yourself thinking seeing that. It's like if you're a baseball guy, like, oh, this is the new Barry Bonds. Do you think guys watching Barry Bonds or who's the Yankees guy? Alex Rodriguez, right? And like watching him, were they sitting there thinking like this is gonna be a Hall of Fame guy?
Probably.
Like
the older guys, maybe not the kids, though.
I don't know. Like when you're a kid watching whoever,
I think when
Tom
you're
Brady,
a kid, you're just like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah,
but you don't get the largeness of it in the overall like aspect of the game.
So it's like I grew up like I knew who Tom Brady was. I didn't give a shit though. I was like, oh, it's football, like whatever. So you like looking back, they're like, well, shit, Tom Brady was a bad dude. And like kind of watching it now, I'm like, as much as I don't even care about football, but you're watching like the Chiefs become the new Patriots.
Right.
Being so dominant, being Patrick Mahomes.
The next like major dynasty.
Yes. And it's like, holy moly. Like to witness that and for it to click in your head, you're kind of like, holy crap. Is that all we need to talk about on Mercedes? And
I think so. Yeah, I think so. So let's talk about Red Bull.
I got one more comment on that. So when there was rumors flying around last year, Lewis is going to Ferrari, blah, 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 this and that. Well, there was some validity to those. Whoever started that, there's some conversations being had. Somebody saw them at a coffee shop between races.
Well, they have a friendship.
Yeah.
And their friendship goes deeper and further back, obviously, than Charles's relationship. I think so. That's what I wanted to talk about. Is I think it's going to be really interesting to see
How Charles handles it.
who's number one at Ferrari next year, right?
I mean, they will. I'm not gonna lie, they will have a stacked team because of Lewis's history
Mm-hmm.
and racecraft and that he's developed over the years.
Yep.
Now, the only caveat to this is that hopefully he stays sharp till that point, and then when he gets to that point, versus you see Alonso, right? He's not as I don't think he's as sharp as he was. He
Yeah.
definitely has a lot of talent,
Yeah.
and he can keep doing it. But and same thing with Seb, like Seb at Ferrari, like was the car that bad, or was Seb just getting like not
Kind of like
not as sharp,
yeah.
nor did he care?
Well, and
Or
like
Kimmy too, like
just like Seb moved to Ferrari, never won a championship, right? Another driver, I think Kimi won a championship for Ferrari, but there was maybe it was Alonso actually. I think went to Ferrari, never won a championship, and so it's like, all right, maybe Lewis makes this move, and it's kind of like the height of his career in the sense of this accomplishment, this new accomplishment for him,
mhm.
but maybe he doesn't actually extend his accolades anymore. I hope that's not the case. And the writing on the wall is kind of showing that maybe they're going to be competitive again.
That and maybe I mean, so this is probably the one time I'd be okay with it happening. I think it'd be for the sake to basically tell everybody like go fuck off.
Yeah.
That Lewis makes the move. And it doesn't have to be his first year there. It could be his second year there, or even his last year there. If he goes and gets the title, then cool.
Yeah.
Like that'd be good to see because then you see it. But then that also goes back to proving not my point, but just the point I've said in the past. Like this is what Lewis does when shit hits the fan and it's not happening. He moves on. And
Yeah.
but and you got to know when to take your cards.
You got to know when to pull
like,
them, right?
Cool. Like I'm taking my
All
chance.
right.
I'm going to like casino next door, and we're going to see if I can hit
Yep.
it. And if he does it, he hits it big. He wins another title. Great for him. Worst case scenario, he gets to drive 3 more years, and then he also gets his foundations and everything else. He's a
Yeah, and I mean, obviously he's already set for life, but
Yeah.
he gets even more initiatives done. And, I think it's cool to see that Ferrari wants to continue those because honestly, I think in that world of F1 and motorsports, I don't think that there's a lot of people. I think most of them are still old school. I don't think that a lot of them really care about diversity and inclusion. You know what I mean?
um, yeah, I could see that.
And so I think like it was a big deal for Mercedes to agree for that for him.
Yeah, I actually
But then to see a team like Ferrari that's also kind of on board for that.
I think there's 2 aspects to it. I think there's the marketing aspect of it. Like we have like probably
Because it's new and like trendy or something.
it's new, it's trendy. We have the potentially I could throw it up for debate that Lewis is the GOAT right now of Formula One.
Yeah.
The only person that he could really compete with, or that would compete, and you could oppose that argument, is Michael Schumacher, right?
Right.
And I wonder if he's trying to redo the Michael Schumacher effect. Like, hey, like I was with the team, I made the jump to a shit team, which Ferrari isn't shit, but I made the jump to a team when I was winning to make this team win again.
Yeah.
And if he does that, by all means,
Solidifies his ability to take a team to the next level.
Yes. And
And
so,
bring
like,
them
if
back,
he
yeah.
goes to Ferrari, wins his 8th title, for sure, he's got the most titles. Sick.
Yeah.
Good for him. But I think that definitely solidifies him. I was like, hey, like, as much as I'm not a Lewis fan,
Right.
I could appreciate
that.
and respect, like, cool, like, you are definitely the GOAT. Just like there's times I didn't like Ricky Carmichael, but he's the GOAT because he won the most, like, overall.
Mhm.
He won 10 years straight of motocross. And that's gnarly. Motocross is so hard.
Yeah.
It's so long. It's so just aggravating, like rough.
Yeah.
Then for you to do that is insane. Yeah, you didn't win the most supercross races, but you won the most, like, probably races overall, which is an absolute insane.
Yeah.
So that I could say that for Lewis, right? And I could be like, all right, man, like you did it not once, not twice, but you did it 3 times with 3 different teams.
Yeah, right.
Cool. Like you're a gangster, you're a bad dude.
Has any other driver like ever won 3 championships with 3 different teams?
The only people I could think of that could have done it would be maybe Michael.
Michael's were
I
I think all with almost were they all with Ferrari?
don't know how he got the Ferrari. I forgot. I remember watching the
Before
documentary.
he got to
But
Ferrari.
I knew he was
Because
with the
he went to
team.
Mercedes after that. Obviously, he didn't win,
Yeah,
but he helped kind of
develop the
catapult
car.
them.
Yeah. And then the other thing was I could see maybe Alonso doing it, but Alonso never got those titles.
Well, Alonso's only got 2 titles.
Yeah, so like
Anyway,
Alonso, the only people that could have been around long enough to do it is Seb, Alonso.
Yeah.
Maybe there's people prior to when I was watching that could have done
Seb
it.
won all 4 of his with Red Bull. Kimi, I think, has only won 2 maybe, and I think both were with Ferrari.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think a lot of like definitely to win a title, a lot of things have to go right. So it's like
Yeah.
you could be like Ferrari could be the fastest, but if the car breaks or well, I mean that's what we saw with Charles a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
He was there, that was his year to do it, and he couldn't get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's obviously mentally haunted him for a while.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
mean,
curious.
he's arguably the fastest. Kind of like
What?
Motocross.
Oh, James Stewart's fastest.
Kind of like James Stewart being the
that's how I thought you were going, but I don't
Yes,
want
the fastest, like, you know, but just couldn't keep it on the track or couldn't stay healthy or couldn't, you know,
100%
because he just couldn't be consistently that over the course of the race.
The only thing I'd say though is Max is pretty fucking fast.
Max
like,
is super fast.
It's I don't know. It's hard to say. Like if you put him like if you just throw the time attack on and you just do laps, I think Max can always figure out a way to uncork that 10th more that he needs.
Yeah.
Maybe it didn't happen on that weekend, and maybe that year that Charles had more top qualifying results. But on the same token, Max obviously got done. He got the title. On the same token, every time though, like Charles didn't win that much. So
right.
Like he went and he was the fastest in the 30 minutes that they got to, or 2 hours, whatever it is, to do qualifying.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, if you would have given Max another lap, would he have uncorked it?
Did it again.
Possibly.
Yeah, right.
So it's like,
well,
within regulated time, you're the fastest.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
a lot of things have to go right too. Like, Max spent his tires at the beginning of the section, and Charles didn't, and then it rained, but then Charles got the hot lap before the rain, and it's like, oh shit.
As cool as qualifying is to get all those hot laps and fastest and whatever, it's irrelevant if you can't fucking win a race or you can't consistently put in a lot of points and win a championship. So I nobody remembers really at the end of the day that you were like so fast at the, you know.
Yeah. Cool. Charles had 7 PQs in 2022, but he has nothing to show
10
for it.
DNFs.
Yeah.
Like,
I think right now, if I look at who is the fastest and who's like the James Stewart equivalent of F1, I'm thinking it's Max.
Yeah, I would. The only reason I don't say Max is because Max is also winning.
Yeah. well, that's what I'm saying. He's so fast. Like he is the fastest dude. And I think he's like kind of crazy. Like he's kind of mentally fucked off because he's like, I want to win. And he's so passionate. You could see that when he gets fired up with his engineer, when he gets fired up with the team.
I mean, he's kind of an asshole.
He gets arrogant for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say he doesn't, but at the same time, you have to, and that's the same thing with whether you're a fighter, whether you're.
It makes me wonder about the longevity of his career.
No, exactly. I think he's going to
even
get in.
Said, like, I think you're going to get so burnt out having that all the time, like having to be the best every single minute of the day. And if you're not, then you're losing your mind, right? Like, that's not longevity.
Right. Well, at the same time, he said that he doesn't want to be there forever.
Right. Yeah.
And he's kind of like Yuki. Like Yuki's like, I'd rather be a chef than Formula One. So it makes you kind of lose some respect for him. And you're like, dude, like, why are you here then? Like, give somebody else a ride.
Dude,
like, I got
another kid.
Another guy.
I would die that. Like, that would be my dream job.
Like looking at it, like, I know a lot of people don't like Max because he's kind of a prick and this and that, but at the same time, you gotta kind of respect the dude that he's the baddest dude.
I don't like him. I think he's an asshole, but I think he's a phenomenal fucking race car driver.
Yes, and it's just like
he
doesn't deny that what I say or what you say, and he's like, I'm the baddest dude in the car. You kind of
give a shit.
You kind of have to be at that level though. You kind of have to have that God complex and be like, I'm the baddest dude here, and there's nobody that's gonna stop me.
I think Lewis was like that to a certain extent. I mean, he still thinks he's the best, right? Yes. But I think he's more humble about it. And I think personally that's what I like.
Probably takes longevity. It takes some time to figure that out. Because I'm sure if you like you have 3, he probably does 3 titles, right? So Max has 3, right?
No, I think Max just has 4, 2, 3.
No, he won the last 2 years. And that's when they have the new car and he beat Lewis.
Lewis in 21, 22, 23.
So he has 3 now, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure I wasn't watching Formula One then, but I'm sure when Lewis was on his third title,
I
was
think-
about to get his fourth, he probably had a similar.
I think so. Maybe not as bad, but I
Maybe
think
not
he
bad
was.
because his upbringing was a little different, right? He
Yeah.
wasn't in the money. He didn't. I don't know if he was
But
dating
I
the
think
girl or whatever.
I think he
but
was a little bit, and I think he's
he's
now
probably toned it
like
back.
100%.
But
He
there
still has that like it's almost like he doesn't have to prove that he's got it. He knows he's got it.
Well, he
And you
definitely
know
needs
how
to start
like
proving
that
it 'cause he's got
energy
two
is
shit
different.
years, so
What's that?
he just said he's got to start proving it again because he's got two shit years under his belt. So
Yeah.
not gonna lie.
I'm excited for him to be at Ferrari.
I am too. I think it'll make it a good mix. I don't. The one thing I do.
Welcome to the Tifosi.
The what?
Tifosi. That's what they call the Ferrari family, the fans and the
Oh, I didn't know.
Ferrari
That's
fans
news
are
to me.
Tifosi.
Um,
I don't know what it means.
I do.
but-
There's some stuff that Lewis says occasionally, or there's some interviews that he has. He still has that cocky, kind of arrogant. Like there's some shit he says that I'm just like, God, you're such a cocksucker. Like I swear, like there's some things, and there's like how he delivers it, and like he thinks like
You just don't
he's the
like
shit.
him, though.
No, I mean, like I said, I can respect him as being
Yeah.
up there in like the accolades. But and I mean, until like if I ever meet him someday, cool, then I can like let him prove me wrong. But like until then, like. And I will say, I mean, I'm not going to go run up to Max. I'm not going to go run up to Lewis. If I saw him in the coffee shop, I'd be like, hey, what's up? Like, I'm not going to, they're just another guy. They're
I would say,
in a better.
hey, bro, you
position
want to
than
come
me.
on our podcast? All right. I will go fuck myself.
That's probably what he's going to tell. Either one of them are going to tell us to do. So why don't you
I'm
go
gonna
go slide in Lewis's DMs and ask. Be like, hey, man, you want to come to this very humbling. Shut up. We should. I don't know why we haven't tried it with Logan yet.
Asked if he wanted a mental performance coach. I never heard back.
Well, he shook-handed all of his coaches. Remember, he shook-handed his handler, the blonde girl.
I know. Maybe. Oh, I know.
Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe it's a new one. Let's talk about
Yeah.
Red Bull.
Yeah, Red Bull.
Let's talk about Red Bull because there's a segue that I think could lead into Ferrari maybe being dominant again.
Well, yeah, lay it on me. I'm all ears for this one. Sorry.
So, Adrian Newey,
Right.
their lead engineer,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot you were going to tell me.
who
Waited
has,
to get me on the spot to get the reaction.
Yes. So, obviously, there's no concrete anything, but he had mentioned how Ferrari's been after him for years
Mhm.
to jump and be their lead.
Mm-hmm.
He's denied him because of the success that he's had at Red Bull, and he's had a huge career there.
Right.
And Red Bull, like the other big thing was Red Bull promised him to develop a road car. That was why he was considering going to Ferrari or somewhere else. Because he
Road
wants
car
to-
is in what, like a touring? Like touring car, like Rolex 24 hour or something like that?
like a hyper car, like a real that
got it.
production goes out to people can buy,
Got it.
basically.
Got
it. I think he wants to think about like a legacy outside of Formula One
Got it.
that he can contribute to.
Got it.
So Red Bull said, okay, you can develop this hypercar for us.
Right.
So he's been working on that. And now, because he's really focusing on that, but he's still focused on F1,
Mhm.
his salary, which is pretty immense, has to, even though he's not full time,
Anything. He's just a Red Bull employee.
right, his full salary has to be determined in the overall cost of the cost cap for Red Bull. So, because it's like, I think it's both drivers and it's the team principal. I believe their salaries don't get into the cost cap, but I believe everybody else's does.
That makes zero sense, but okay.
And
Because
so
all those three players are all part of the team as well. So, but whatever.
I know,
Okay.
but for whatever reason, like that's not included because
Right.
whatever, right?
Okay.
It wants to give the opportunity for people to pay drivers a fucking crazy amount, and because Lewis's salary alone would be almost the cost cap.
Right. No,
So-
I mean, and if somebody's willing to pay, that's I kind of hear
But
that.
then you can't
hear this
develop
argument in
car,
other
right?
sports, like, oh, like we should throw a cost cap on how much we pay players, and it's like, well, it's. I mean, if the agent's that good, like, who gives a shit? Like,
Yeah.
sorry, you're broke and you can't afford it. Like,
Right.
it's like if somebody's willing to do it, as much as I'd like hate to see it, like, oh yeah, Lewis is making $300 million over 3 years. It's kind of astronomical.
3 years.
But and you're like,
Yeah.
all right, cool. Or like the amount of money. I think I saw the payout. I think Max made like 700 million or something like that after bonuses.
Bonuses and shit. Yeah,
It was
crazy.
a dumb amount
Crazy.
of money. And it's like, cool, good for him. I mean, like he deserved it because he kicked everybody's ass this year.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is, with the stuff that's dropped with Christian Horner, if something were to happen and he gets canned, and I know we're about to talk about this, but let's say hypothetically,
I have some news.
Red Bulls, okay, Red Bull starts to fall apart a little bit, and Adrian Newey sees an opportunity at Ferrari now that Lewis is going there. Boom,
Is he gonna
Ferrari,
take a pay cut?
Ferrari. Oh,
You think?
I mean,
Well, but
I don't know. I don't
I don't
know.
know if he would, because does Ferrari already have a hypercar?
Yeah, but
But he could redevelop.
But
the
also,
hypercar for the next
if he
one,
just did this
or-
Red Bull one, maybe he doesn't care about that desire anymore, and so maybe he'll want to
Did he?
get
I mean,
back
do you think he's
into the
finished
the
it already,
F1.
or do you think he?
I think so. Yeah, I was like looking up some stuff.
Okay.
It's like the RB19 or RB something 23 or
So
something like
it's
that.
a Formula One car, basically.
But yeah, I know. I'm like, well, it's got the same name, but it's
Yeah.
like a street car, like
Got
a
it.
hypercar. So
Like a Bugatti or something like that. No,
kind of,
something
yeah.
along
And I
those-
think it's actually linked more like with Aston Martin too.
got it.
I'm
Which
not
would make
sure.
which would make sense, because
Yeah.
they're ripping off Red Bull cars anyways. Don't quote me on that.
So anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. That could lead into a potential Ferrari championship in the future if all the stars align.
I mean, I don't. If they were after him and the money's there, and he sees like shit, Lewis is, and I mean, it could take Max being a dick one day, and Adrian's like, "Fuck this, I'm
Yeah.
out. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go bend you over, and I'm gonna go take your ass with another team."
Yep, I'm gonna go beat you.
And I mean, I could see him. I mean, it could happen, and maybe it doesn't happen the first year that Lewis is there. Maybe
Right.
it happens the second year, and
Well,
I don't think
obviously
there's-
because 25, they're probably not gonna like
yeah.
push Red Bull.
Yeah,
Like maybe they'll get second.
25, and then
But
Adrian's
26, if they,
Adrian's
like-
like, shit, I could go develop another car and like
Yeah.
a brand new.
The new era.
Yeah, and he's like, do I want to do that and just prove that I can do it not only at Red Bull, but
Again,
I can do
yeah.
it at another team?
And I think, I think a lot of people want to see Red Bull or Ferrari kind of like reach that pinnacle again.
No, yeah, I think everybody wants to see Ferrari,
Yeah.
because like you look at the history of with the history, and it's like you think of Ferrari at Formula One.
Yeah.
Ferrari sold
All
a
right,
bunch
let's
of
hear
cars for their shitbox race team.
Let's hear it. What's up? So we know.
So yeah, we
The
know there's some
things are going
allegations
Yeah.
against
Harassment,
Christian.
right?
Just some type of harassment, inappropriate behavior is what they're quoting.
Okay. And there's being an internal
Investigation. He's got a hearing
within
on
Red Bull.
Friday.
Friday. So we'll know.
So there's that, right? And you hear inappropriate behavior, you gotta assume there's some type of sexual harassment of some kind.
That's what I would think. It's all
mean-
speculation.
That's super speculation. I mean, don't pin it on me if that's what it comes out to be. But or he could have like screamed at somebody, told somebody to go fuck
I
off.
could see that too.
And he could have lost his shit on
Mhm.
somebody, and then somebody reported him because they're like, "Oh, I'm not going to put up with this."
Right.
You never know. Now there's all these soft asses in the workplace nowadays. But
Your generation.
I don't claim them. I'm the generation behind them. Even though I technically was birthed in it. But so I saw this all going on. I'm like, okay, like whatever. And he denies it, which I think anybody would. And then so we gotta assume, it's some type of sexual harassment. Maybe he walked by Max, slapped him on the ass, and Max didn't like it, and he's like, "Hey, like what the fuck?"
Yeah.
I'm reporting you. Could
Yeah.
have been that. Highly doubt it.
We don't know.
Or he's been
but
banging some chick in the facility, and now she's trying to come out and like ruin his life. Not ruin his
Yeah.
life. I mean, it's his responsibility too, right? He could be
Right.
doing that, and he's like, and trying to keep it hush hush. That's very not uncommon. But then I see one thing. I saw one post, and it wasn't very credible, and I was like, that can't be right. That can't be right. Then I see another post from a different person, slightly more credible. It's like a page we follow, so I was like, oh shit, this might be serious. Supposedly, so they're having the hearing Friday, but then I guess he's been advised to step down.
Oh, really?
Christian's been advised to step down as team principal. I don't know.
Kind of like either you resign or you're getting fired and then you're screwed.
Yeah, how do you want your legacy to go down, basically?
Right.
Or,
Oh, damn.
or how do you want it to be?
That's bigger than I even thought.
Yeah.
I was kind of reaching when I thought maybe he would get let go or something, but
I've seen it in two different places. I don't know how accurate it is.
Yeah.
But if anybody, I mean, because the first time I saw it, I was like, yeah, somebody's just looking for some
Trolling.
clickbait, and like, oh yeah, he's getting canned. But then I saw from another page that was slightly more credible. It was on our thread, or it was on our main feed, and I was like, I don't remember what page it was,
Yeah.
but I was like, well, I believe them more than I believe the popular page. And I was like,
Maybe, yeah,
wow,
maybe.
that's
Mm.
I don't know. So I mean, we'll see Friday if he has this. I can see this happening. Friday has the investigation. Everything they keep everything hush
Yeah.
through the
We're
weekend.
fine.
And I can see something coming out Monday, and it's either going to be good or bad. It's going to be
Yeah.
like, we've done our investigation. We find him not guilty of whatever the accusations were. Please drop it. Don't ask those questions. Or
Yeah.
it's going to be like, Christian Horner's no longer with us. Like,
It's gonna be
or
either
he's
or,
going to come
right?
out like, yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, the love, and the years, and everything was great, but I'm stepping down. And
Yeah.
it sucks because you kind of, no matter how it goes, you don't
We
really
probably
know
won't know what really happens.
what really happened.
Yeah.
If he's really guilty, if he's not guilty.
Yeah,
That's my
because
biggest thing. It's
it is
like,
a possibility that he's not necessarily guilty,
for sure.
or maybe there's a gray line where it's like he kind of overstepped, but it's not like as severe as it is made out to be.
Yeah.
But in the public eye, it looks like, oh my gosh, and they have to take action
Uh-huh.
because of that, even though it's really nothing. Yeah, but we just don't. We'll probably never know.
Yeah, and so like no matter what he does, we can speculate on the next show. Like, yeah, he got canned, and it was because he was banging the secretary, or it's just like he walked by and said, "Hey, you look hot today," and then she reported him, and then they advised him to step
Yeah.
down, and it's like, so then he steps down, and you're like, "Oh, he must have done something," and it could have been something so stupid.
Yeah, yeah. It would be. I guess it'll be interesting to see. And then if that's the case, what happens to Red Bull?
No, that's a
You
I
know,
mean,
because
or
as
okay,
much as again, like as much as I think Max is an asshole, he's an amazing driver. He's driving the wheels off, and like that's awesome to watch too. As much as I think Christian Horner is kind of an asshole, he's I think he's a big part in their success over the
he's been there so
last
long.
decades, man. Like even with Seb, and
Yeah.
like I think he's had a huge role in the success at Red Bull, and so I think it would be a big detriment to their team.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I feel like there's not many people that could step in there and fill those shoes, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Seb comes back. Ooh, that would be
How cool!
That'd be
I would
sick.
like that.
Nobody would be mad at that. That'd be
Yeah.
like, talk about saving the day.
I'd be like,
we'd be like, hey, who's Christian Horner?
I've always liked Red Bull. I just have never really liked Max, and so
Yeah.
I kind of phase. And obviously, I'm a Lewis fanboy, so I'm going to follow him. Even though you say, "Oh, you're going to be the bandwagon if you jump to Ferrari," I'm like,
are you did bandwagon?
Lewis. I'm on Lewis's bandwagon.
You're all of a sudden a Ferrari
apparently.
fan. That's fucking weird.
Like I said, everybody's a Ferrari fan. You
I'm a
just
Ferrari
either
fan.
really like them or you don't give a shit.
Randall's a Ferrari fan. Well, we know why.
Fucking Charles.
No, oh, actually,
Charles.
no, it is
Wasn't it?
Charles.
Yeah.
No, it is Charles.
I know your wife.
But
better
all
than-
the
I
other
know your
girls,
wife better than
all
you
the
do.
other girls like Carlos.
Everybody loves Carlos
yeah.
too.
Um,
Smooth operator.
But yeah, I mean, I don't kind of know what to think. Oh, what about this? This is gonna dash your Adrian Newey theory.
Okay.
Christian gets canned. Adrian steps up to be a team principal.
You think so? Yeah. I mean, that would
who
keep him
else
there? I guess.
Yeah, that would keep him at Red Bull, and then like who else would be able to
Because
do
Helmut
the
Marko's
job?
gone, right?
I think they told him, yeah, to get the fuck out.
I think he's
But
gone
he's
now.
been being saying stupid shit.
He's also a fucking like.
He's a loose cannon. He's an HR
racist.
nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Interesting.
maybe he doesn't even work for them. He's just still wearing Red Bull jackets at all the races and getting interviews.
Well, I think he was kind of like a contractor, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's an
Advisor,
Yeah.
He's an advisor, whatever that.
And you know what he said? He's just like, yeah, just cheat. That's all I care about. Just win titles.
Longer, yeah.
You ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Right tail Praisdale, you know what I'm talking about?
He's exactly. And
When's the last time you see the stash?
And that's why Americans aren't in Formula One.
Hey, take that back. There's an American in Formula One.
I know. I just mean the Andretti's.
No, we got.
But they're more like
They're IndyCar.
they're not
They're
even
not
NASCAR. They're
yet.
Indy, yeah, which Indy is kind of a hybrid, I guess.
Yeah.
Side note, it seems like Roman Grosjean's been driving the wheels off the Indy car. That's kind of fun.
He definitely had some success. I remember watching him when he first came over. He had a couple podiums. I want to say he had a win that first year.
He did have a win, yeah.
I remember watching a race, and he's been like, he battles. He's in like the top 10 all the time.
He's having a lot of like just good passes and stuff. I mean, I think it goes to show the caliber that you have to be in to get into Formula One. So you could be like, I don't think he was bad. He's not the worst, but you could be the worst Formula One driver and go and drive a lot of other federations and just like tear it up.
Well, yeah, like, look at K-Mag when he was off. He was out racing like the 24-hour, and he was doing.
Oh yeah, and rally stuff too, right?
I didn't know he was doing rally.
Oh,
but
not
I know
K-Mag, but
I think he was
Kimmy.
doing hypercars and stuff like that, like hypercar racing and like the touring cars and shit like that.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Mick was doing for a while. Like Mick started doing that for a while.
Didn't Jensen Button just win the Le Mans?
I don't remember. I think I saw something on it, but I can't confirm that. I think he was part of that team or whatever.
Yeah, I think he was one of the drivers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these guys are phenomenal.
Oh yeah, I mean, you take them to the local karting track, and then we're gonna get our asses kicked for sure.
Totally.
But yeah, like they're all great drivers in their own respect, but it just shows you how high of a caliber. I mean, you gotta think is how high of a caliber they are, and that everybody else is in Formula One.
Right.
Because like as much as I'm not a Ocon fan, like Ocon can wheel a car.
Right.
I'm sure if you threw him in another car, he'd do really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just like shows how far ahead those cars are too.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, the other thing though is that IndyCar has like way deeper field.
Yeah. How many cars are on that?
I want to say 40 for some reason. It's like
It's
20
huge.
plus. I know it's 20 plus.
Yeah, you go watch that and you're like, oh my gosh, like
There's a
that is
lot
a
of stuff
tight
going on.
wheel to wheel. And I mean, you have to be a good driver. Like all those are mostly mechanical, right? It's like the F1 car. Yeah, we got some thunder here.
Jesus.
The F1
take
cars are so electronic,
Yeah.
where the Indy cars are so mechanical still.
Yeah, it's
Like
kinda
you're
driving
still
a
shifting
stick
and stuff,
versus,
right?
like-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which I mean, they're obviously shifting the Formula One cars too, but I think it's all
Yeah.
paddled and everything.
well,
But
it's also
then-
you watch those all the shit that they have to.
Yeah, IndyCar
And-
has a push to pass too, which is like DRS, but it's not.
Oh, interesting.
So
right?
it's
Just
like
give
you
them
get like 200
50 more
seconds.
horsepower or something.
Yeah, it's like you get 200 seconds for the race.
Oh, so
And
you
then-
use it kind of when you
Yeah,
want
some guys can use it super fast and they run out, and then some guys hold it until the end of the race, and that's how you make your passes
yeah,
and stuff like that, which is
interesting.
pretty crazy. It's kind of like a reuse
like
DRS
a NOS.
in a way. Yeah,
like a
it,
little
gives you a little,
nitrous.
it gives you a little bump. and
Yeah,
you're able to use
interesting.
them.
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
so it's kind of crazy when you're watching the end of a race and you're like, oh, and like you see the leaderboard and they'll say how many guys have push to pass left. And it's like, oh, this guy's got 20, this guy's got none, this guy's got none, this guy's got 50, and you're like, oh man, this guy's gonna come like
Yeah, he's
freight
gonna
train
come
rolling
back.
through,
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I guess but it's like if you use it too late, everybody's just too far ahead. you know?
Yeah. So you kind of have to balance it out.
Strategize it. That's interesting.
I know some McLaren guys have been kind of testing and hanging out with McLaren F1 as well. Some of the IndyCar guys.
Oh, I've seen a lot of those guys.
Pato Award was one of them.
Mhm.
think-
Yep.
I think Colton Herta.
They
I don't
have
think he's
that-
a McLaren kid
They
anymore.
have that girl too.
Yeah,
She drives an F2, I think, right?
I don't know. I don't remember which
I
one.
think she
she's
was
in.
dominating some races.
Was
I
she?
forget, but yeah, she's fast, man. She's cool to watch.
That like Filipino girl, I think.
Yeah. I forget her name. I will learn it. She's just a stud, man.
I would be curious. I mean, I wonder if you'll ever see a female in Formula One.
I would say this girl, if she keeps
on the
moving
pace
how
she's
she
going,
is,
yeah.
I think it's definitely possible.
Obviously,
would
I've
love
seen
to
it
see
in other
that.
sports like NASCAR and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I want to say I thought one went to IndyCar at one point.
Well, Danica Patrick, wasn't she in Indy for a little bit? And then she went to NASCAR, right?
I don't remember which way it was. I don't know if
she
he
was
was
in
in
Indy first.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I knew she went to NASCAR, but I didn't know if
Yeah.
she did anything before.
I'm pretty sure she was Indy.
which
I
is
guess
pretty
I could be
wild.
wrong, but
Which I don't
yeah.
know. I mean, I don't know if there's. I feel like I would naturally want to go drive IndyCar more than NASCAR, but
I don't. NASCAR to me just is boring. We've talked about this a million times.
yeah. I mean, I think the road courses are sick, but they're just so
You like the
they're
road course?
so big though on a road
It's
course.
like
so
a
it's kind of
boat, man.
yeah.
It's not like it's not like a cart, you know.
I did well. I saw some hot takes from or some comments from Max. He was saying like the Formula One car. Shit, I can't remember exactly. He said like it's too big. He did say that they're too big and the tires are too big. He's like the tires need to be smaller so you can actually see over the tire.
Mm.
And then he made a comment. He basically he was like bashing the modern day F1 car, which is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's been saying kind of what we've been talking about is like the cars are way too big now. It like does not make the racing fun. Like
Yeah.
obviously if you're on a super circuit like Circuit America is great.
Because it's so big and it's built
Yeah.
for this new modern day more.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like when they race NASCAR there, like they race a lot of shit there.
Yeah.
But and it's huge. But like you go to these city circuits, like they should have two if they want that car, like they should have two cars, like a scaled down version and like a big version. Because like you can't race, and we say this every show, you can't race the city circuits.
So the
minus like two of
the
them.
2026 car is speculated to be quite a bit smaller.
I mean, I hope it is, and I hope it makes the racing better. Like
Yeah.
And maybe they've seen that like how it kind of evolved. So they're getting kind of
I
like
think
same
so.
thing with like modern day trucks or SUVs, right? And like some SUVs are so big, and now like a lot of people are switching from the like the Tahoe or the Suburban to
The
like hey, like
midsize.
let's be on a midsize SUV just because it's like they're gas hogs, they're
Yeah.
all this and all that.
Well, even like my Tacoma is about the same size as the old Tundra.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like
It's
the
like,
Gen 1 Tundra, like I
yeah,
remember my uncle had one, and it was like now the new Tundras are just massive.
yeah, it's a full size. It's crazy. Everything's just getting bigger.
Yeah, not in a good way. Uh, I did see. I made a stupid comment on I think it was Formula. It might have been the F1's page. So we're gonna get canceled either way. Uh, so like, oh, we made a pledge, or some company made a pledge to be carbon neutral by 2040. And I'm like, great. Your pledge to means nothing because all of the things you're taking action on cost more and are more harmful for the environment
Yeah.
than just doing what you're doing. So congratulations, you guys are idiots and you played yourself. My other hot take all night.
Dude, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. I am not bought into the whole electric car bullshit.
Yeah. And the people are pulling the plug on them. Like, there's not as popular as you.
They need to, because in order to power all, if everybody drives a fucking electric car,
Mhm.
you're gonna have to pump so much nuclear energy into the fucking electric grid
Mhm.
to be able to supply those, way more than the fossil fuels you everybody was burning if you're burning the nuclear fucking fuel that way.
Well, and just think about it like the cars after the fact. You can't destroy the batteries. So then
No.
the acid seeps into the ground, seeps into your groundwater. And then, so you put in a graveyard out in the middle of BFE, but then that all still eventually comes back. And then, or if you put it
Yeah.
near it, it happened to be this day somewhere and it gets developed in 10 years. Oh, hey, there's an electric car graveyard underneath this school. Then you
Mhm.
have like this
And everybody's getting
school lawsuit.
cancer
Yeah,
and
everybody has
yeah.
cancer 10 years and they figure out, oh, hey, there's like a Tesla graveyard
Yeah.
underneath the school. So
Yeah.
the whole
And they're not performing like all the Teslas that are losing charge like in the 0-degree weather and not being able to charge.
yeah.
Wow, that's a
Well,
failure.
you just see it in
All the rolling blackouts that California has to do because of
Mhm.
all the people using electricity.
Yeah, they want to go no gas cars by like 2035, and it's like impossible. You can't do that.
No, the grid's not even
It's not supported.
set
Yeah, you
for
needed
it.
to make the infrastructure for it before you did that, and they didn't.
But we all know because it's corrupt. The
Yeah,
politicians are corrupt.
for sure.
And I guarantee the politicians have a hand in some sort of investment in
They're all getting kickbacks for
bat-
sure.
battery cars.
Yeah.
And so they're pushing all these agendas because they are getting shit. It's fraud. It's
How do
insider
we?
trading.
We
I
had
don't
that
know.
fun pod and we got on
Bullshit.
like politics, but yeah,
I know. At least we agree on something.
that's yeah. Yeah, I just the whole sustainability thing is just like it's such a broad and
Yeah.
hot topic and a hot button to talk about, and it's just that's what gets so annoying. It's like
Yeah.
leave this shit out of here, like dude. We're like you're racing the motorsport, like it's not my job. Like, if we want to race
Yeah.
electric cars, let's go watch it. Formula E.
E.
Like, you guys have that. Cool. Like,
Right. Yeah, you already have a whole federation like
oh,
developed
that's
for
what
it.
Max said. He said get rid of the hybrid. He's like the hybrid downshifting is
Mm.
shit. He's like the V8 downshift's so much smoother and better.
Like just get the actual bring back the V10s, man.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Or I guess a V8 too, but
That's what his quote was. It was a V8, but I mean a V10 would be sick too.
yeah,
And whatever.
because they're V6 hybrid now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anything else I should rant about tonight?
I know, right? I think that's about it, actually.
Yeah, we cranked through this one pretty good. I thought we
Yeah.
were going to be a little longer. So,
I don't know what time do we start.
well, that camera says an hour, so
Boom, we did
on the
good.
nose.
We did good. Huge thanks to Blood Racing.
No, thanks to you guys for the support, hanging out with us. Sorry it's been a little slow in the off season. Like I said, a lot of crazy shit going on.
Yep.
I got sick one day, did some traveling as well and work and so yeah, it's not my full-time gig, so I apologize, but I'm also not sorry. If you want to come on the show and replace me, by all means call. Um but no, I do love doing this. I do love bench racing, I love talking about it, love ranting to you guys. Hopefully you guys love my voice and just how
Yeah,
fired
we
up I
appreciate
get
you guys like sitting through us, just
shooting the shit.
shooting the shit, bullshitting. We're gonna have like the season's coming up. We're gonna have a lot more like hopefully weekly videos. If not, definitely trying to post a lot more. If you guys have questions on anything that you guys want answers on, be more than happy to research and figure that out and talk about it on a show or create a whole video for you about it.
Or if you want to come on the show, we can.
If you want to come on the show, yeah, we definitely want to have more guests and get more dynamic. If you've been to a race, we want to hear your story.
Yep.
Yeah, like if you guys didn't catch the last interview we had about the Las Vegas Grand Prix, definitely go check it out because that was a really cool story and interesting. And maybe you can sneak your way into the $1 Million Club.
Right. So does that make you want to go sneak into Vegas next year?
No.
Yeah, I don't want to go to Vegas.
No, they didn't sell me.
No.
I want to go to Austin with you.
No, you shouldn't. I wonder if tickets are still on sale.
I know.
I don't think
probably
they're sold out yet, but
I'm just gonna sneak in.
yeah, I mean, you probably could. I could get there and
Big
let you know.
ticket.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
We were gonna dabble on some of the car liveries just as a finale, but we'll do like car livery videos on each one again.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, there's only 3 out right now, so we'll probably wait till they all come out so that we can.
And then we'll talk about it. I'll do an individual video on each one of them, just kind of showing you them. The short little 90-second, 2-minute
Oh, I
videos.
did forget to talk about one thing.
Okay.
How everybody feels bad for Carlos. And Carlos,
He's gonna have a ride.
he already
He's
has a
good.
ride. He
Yeah.
meant this known last
Yeah, I was
year.
gonna say, didn't he already signed with Audi?
We talked about
I'm
it, that
pretty
he
sure
was
that.
leaving Ferrari in 2025 to go to the Audi team,
Yeah.
that which is Alfa Romeo or Stake F1's team.
Kick. What?
Well, I saw a video that's only going to be kick at certain races because Stake, was it Stake? Stake is basically online casino.
Yeah.
It's like a big corporate that owns a bunch of casinos.
Right.
Some
Countries don't
allow gambling advertising. So like when they go to Australia, it's going to be the kick.
And Kick is
will be
like
bigger.
streaming, right?
Yes.
Kick is kind of like a Twitch or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, interesting.
So I thought that was pretty interesting too.
Yeah.
So they basically interchanged the name at certain races. And then obviously once Audi comes in and buys or puts their badging on it.
Yeah.
So everybody's sad for Carlos. Carlos made this known last year. You guys are just all stupid and forgot.
Thanks.
Not our fans, but all the people like questioning,
Going like, well, where's he gonna go?
yeah, like, oh, he's so, it's like, he
Is he
hasn't,
gonna
not
go
like
to
he
Audi?
hasn't performed, like,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, he'll have a ride, dude.
And our logic behind that is too, like, his dad races for the Audi team, and they've been dominating, like,
they
the
just
car.
won the car this year.
Yeah,
Huge,
so-
with their new like concept off-road fucking car.
Like SUV or whatever.
Is it all? It's all electric too.
Mhm.
Yeah. As much as we don't like electric, that
So
car is dope.
I saw some sick clips from it.
Yeah.
Actually, a side note to add too, American Ricky Breivik is actually the one that won the Dakar this year. So he's actually from like an hour from where I grew up in Victorville. High Des guys. So
Hey.
that was really cool to see Ricky Breivik. So shout out to Ricky Breivik for holding it down for America. And I think we froze on that camera.
Uh-oh.
And you gonna jiggle
lose power. What's up?
maybe. Oh, look at it. Anyways, but I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, Ricky Breivik won. Then I got Derek's head in my shot. So,
we gotta cut this hot take anyway.
but the reason why I was talking about it, you're totally botching my shot here. I'm trying to talk to the people. Audi, I think, will be competitive in F1 because his dad, Carlos's dad, races for that Audi team. And so that being said, Audi will probably be able to come in with similar engineers or similar engineering concepts and be able to make that a thing. So we will see. I think this is probably a sign for us to stop because this
I
recording
hope
is
it's
taking
recording.
shit.
It's frozen.
Yeah, so. If anything, you gotta watch my beautiful face the rest of the show. So
Like, share, subscribe.
we'll see you guys later. Thanks so much. And if you want to come on the show, if you have any comments, if you want us to stop doing this, just let me know.
For us just to stop now.
Just stop now while you guys are in.
Bye, y'all.
Cheers.